Man. What up, everybody? It is Beefy Boys Breakdown episode 43. We're breaking down the Whittaker Gastelum card, and we're going to talk Askren Paul because kind of got you, right? It's just one of those things that, like, kind of like Tiger King, you know, like just those random things that, like, encapture the hearts and minds of America that, like, can't really be explained, like Groundhog's Day and
it's relevant to MMA. You know what I mean?
It is. Askren, former Bellator champion, former Olympic wrestler, former UFC fighter.
NCAA wrestling champion.
Yeah, and I'll be real. I had to be pretty much educated on Askren. Like, I knew him from his, pretty much short-lived and, less than glorious UFC career. And I had to be reminded, of all his credentials, whether, in the wrestling and the Bellator champion and all the legends he's been in this, beaten and shared the octagon with. So, he, I feel like, I don't know, man. How do you really feel about what went down with Paul Askren last night? Like, do you think he took a dive? Do you think it's rigged? Are you not going that tinfoil hat and he just got caught? How do you really feel? I mean, I know how I feel, honestly. Like, I've gone back and forth, but I have a pretty, like, firm.
The more I think about it, man, the more I feel like it was a dive, but yeah, I don't think it was, honestly. Like, I think he just got hit hard with, like, like he threw a soft left and Jake Paul came over the top with a hard right and literally came over the top of it and got him, right on the side of the head. Good counter shot, like, good timing. It's surprising that would be enough to put Askren out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you could say it was a quick stoppage, but it's also, like, essentially an exhibition fight. Like, they're not going to let him, like, go to the, the bloody death, Right. No, I'm right there with you, man. I think Askren was legitimately hurt. Everybody.
Right. Yeah.
The hot take online is that, he could have kept fighting. He could have kept fighting. I don't think anybody's questioning if he could have kept fighting. Like, those are two different things. And I think a lot of these people are people that are used to the MMA knockout standard. Boxing knockouts are different than MMA knockouts.
So.
Like you don't have to be like finished in boxing. Like
and I mean, to quote Ricky Waters from the Miami Dolphins, which just to give you a little background to it, he's a receiver, slot receiver, right? Always expected to go across the middle and catch those balls, right? And there was like a 4th and 5 where he literally you see him see the defender coming down the safety to just destroy him. And this is granted in the late 80s, so you get literally killed, yeah. He just literally stops and lets the dude run in front of him and doesn't even go for the ball. And they asked him after the game what's up? Why would you do that? And his response was, for what? For who? And it's why would he do that? He's getting paid the same.
Yeah, no, I feel it. Yeah, no, I think, I don't know. I think it's real easy. First off, this fight was literally designed for casual. So it's hard to really, knock anybody for having a casual take about the most casual fight of all time.
True.
But I think, the casual take is just Ben Askren either see, they can't even get their story straight because half the people are saying Ben Askren took a dive and half of the people are saying that it was an early stoppage and the ref should have let. Those are two different arguments, But I think they're just so casual that they kind of are just mixing those two arguments together and throwing it at the wall and having a Twitter hot take because, in all fairness, whenever that final time when the ref asked Ben Askren if he was okay and in order to walk to him, I forget the exact verbiage, but Ben Askren totally wobbled. He would have failed he would have failed a sobriety test if it was a cop and it was 2 a.m. on the side of the road. He was not walking in a straight line or in a confident manner. So yeah, I think it's a real fun hot take to throw out there that it was either rigged or, WWE style or he took a dive. And like I said, that's what's funny to me because these people are mixing all those arguments, which don't coexist with each other. One of those arguments kind of counteracts the other one. But I feel like people are just mixing them all up into some conspiracy theory gumbo and just tweeting it out there. That
I think another thing that's important to consider too is Ben Askren's out here coming. How old is he now? 40, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
he's coming off of a hip replacement surgery, essentially.
Yes.
So the mobility is going to be limited. And then he's also not a striker. Like, he doesn't, other than being in mixed martial arts, he was a wrestler for, like, you know what I'm saying, like 20 years or whatever it was, considering when he started, whatever age that was. And that was what he was so good at, and that's how he won most of his fights in mixed martial arts. So it's just crazy. Like, Jake Paul, I think, is pretty good, to be quite honest. Like, you know what I mean. Like,
I feel you. He's getting harder to deny with the win over Askren. He has some real power. He can hurt people, and his timing is obviously good.
Yeah, his timing is great.
I still think that if he fights like a striker, he's toast. I mean, or if he even fought somebody his same weight class, like he had like, I think, 60 pounds on Nate Robinson and close to 20 on Askren, I think. And so I don't know. I think if he got in there with A, somebody who knows how to throw hands, B, somebody his same size, or God forbid C, which would be both.
Yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. It's like, you need a real professional fight.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And that's where I'm at on this. Like, and mind you, I've been very consistent with this take. This isn't a revisionist history or a hot take. I've been consistent since the Nate Robinson fight with saying that, like, as long as we keep it in this realm of this is fun and this is money and this is a shit show and this is a sideshow and this is a cash grab and we're gonna have rappers talking about pussy and it's gonna be, you know, like, not a real thing, I'm here for it all day, baby. But I said since the jump that, like, don't get it twisted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't the real deal. And, like, the minute that, like, people kind of try to cross that point on the Venn diagram into, like, real combat sports, real fighting, real even, I guess, athletics, you know, that's when I'm going to have a problem with it. And that's still kind of where I'm at. Like Jake Paul, I'll be real. And like, because I thought Askren was going to win. I've been pretty confident that Askren was going to win. So, I mean, hats off to him. He got the win over a real fighter. Nobody can say that he's, you know, hasn't beaten a real fighter, because Ben Askren is the definition of a real fighter. Now, I guess the next step in the progression is to fight a striker. I don't think he wants that smoke, but I mean,
bro, I feel like the next step in the progression is to fight a real fucking boxer. You know what I mean? Like, I know you said that, but I'm just saying, like, who else on earth gets to have a 3-0 in their professional record for fighting a YouTube guy to start? Then he fights Nate Robinson. Then he fights Askren. None of those guys are real boxers. It's like, when are we gonna put him in, like? Because in boxing as well, you got to be usually like 25-0 before you even start getting looked at like that for, like, top 5, top 10 looks.
Which is why I actually say that that's perfectly in the spirit of boxing, padding your record and getting easy wins early in your career. That's what boxing's all about, baby.
These are beyond easy wins. These aren't even like boxers.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, he chose that. That's in the spirit of boxing, you know.
And I think that's been an argument against the boxing heads that are mad about, like, these fights taking place and, like, the draw that they're getting, and like apparently that fight last night was trending #1 on, like, Twitter, Instagram, like, all the social media platforms. And then it also was the most viewed fight of the year, all boxing matches.
As Askren got $500K to show, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the same as, like, what Francis Ngannou got paid to show up against Stipe.
Askren got paid $500K to show up?
$500K to show, not even to win. That was base with no pay-per-view or anything.
Okay. He does get pay-per-view, though?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure not the majority of it. I'm sure Paul gets the bigger cut, but
so he got a guaranteed 500 off the rip.
A guaranteed 500, when most UFC fighters are making like 50 to 100K a fight.
Yeah,
and a lot are making less than that. Yeah.
It sucks, man.
I mean, you know what they say: if it makes dollars, it makes sense. But I honestly think we spend enough time on it. We're both on the same page that we think Askren was legitimately I don't know if hurts the word, but definitely wobbled and definitely worthy of a boxing KO in an exhibition match. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm not. See, you got to understand people out there that like saying that and saying that he couldn't keep fighting are two different statements. You saying that he could have kept fighting has nothing to do with what took place last night, which if you even want to call that boxing, but assuming we're using the term boxing, that can be considered a boxing KO. It's very different than a mixed martial arts KO, or you know, it's very different. You don't have to necessarily like be like hella finished off in boxing. Like there's a lot of precedence for that, especially in like a celebrity fight, you know. So yeah, the threshold was going to be low for damage. I mean, like I don't. If anybody was expecting a bloodbath, you just didn't really know what you know. You essentially got scammed if you were. And that goes to my
That's the
second
thing that
part.
sucks, in my opinion. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll let you get back on that second part. But the what I did expect was that Ben Askren could take damage, and it would at least be a long, entertaining fight.
I
Like
did too.
that was my expectation.
I did too. I did too. He got rocked, man, by a dude,
I mean,
by a big athletic guy. He got
he did get
rocked.
rocked.
Who knows how to throw a punch and has a heavy right. I mean, I think we can at least say that about
Oh
Paul. I
yeah.
mean, those aren't the biggest compliments in the world. You know, I'm not, you know, calling him John Jones, but he does know how to throw a punch. He's a pretty athletic guy, and he was the much larger man, and a much probably the word athlete can be interpreted so many ways, but I think by my definition of athlete, he was the more athletic man last night in that fight. I'm
I
not
agree.
talking about credentials or, oh, he's an Olympian. How is he more athletic? I get it. I hear that argument already, but I'm just
I
saying, I
mean,
think
much
last night,
younger, doesn't have a fake hip. Like he might be the more athletic guy, just
that's what
overall at this point.
like if we're doing a combine last night, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure
Oh
Paul's going to
yeah.
have, like, that's kind of what I'm getting at when I say athlete. And so, yeah. So I think we're in same step there. Oh, and then what I also want to say, anybody that paid money for that last night, you are indeed a sucker. Like I mean that
Oh,
with no
dude, it was on
disrespect.
every streaming service I knew. Like it was on like 5 different sites. It was
If
insane.
you paid for that last night, you are a sucker. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person, but I'm just saying you're a sucker. Like you got. Like I've gotten got. We've all gotten got. I didn't get got last night. You did, but I didn't. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing because honestly, the real fighters deserve the bulk of the credit and the bulk of the recognition and the bulk of the airtime and you know the bulk of our attention. So we paid the sideshow. You know, you got your 15 seconds of fame. I'm honestly really happy Askren got paid. He probably made as much last night as he did in his whole, probably more last night than he did in his whole UFC career. I'm pretty sure that's fair to
Well,
say.
UFC career only 3 fights. So
I know, but I'm just saying.
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, like that's a real probably fact, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got the bag. And I I I don't know, man. Do I like Jake Paul anymore after last night? No. Do I have to throw like 3% respect on his name? Yeah. I mean, I couldn't beat up Ben Askren, bro. Like I'll say that. Like I'm not a weenie. Like I'm probably, you
Oh
know, tougher
no,
than your average
both
Joe,
those
but
guys would. I
Ben
think
Ben
both those guys.
Askren's fucking me up.
I think both those guys would beat me in a fight. To be quite honest with you, like they train every day. Like Jake Paul,
That's
if he's
yeah,
as dedicated as he says he is,
yeah,
he should be very good with his hands at this like 3 years deep. You start to
yeah.
acquire that skill level, you know.
So that's where, you know, whenever everybody keeps using the term like YouTube kid or there's these things. First off, he's a grown man. You know, he
Right.
did make YouTube videos, and he's a grown man. I think people are looking at him like he's
I think
14
the way
years
to
old.
denote it's like
Like,
former YouTube star. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's
yeah.
how we should say it, right? And he is a boxer. Like he is also a boxer. I'm not going to deny him that title either. Like he clearly
And
goes out there, he puts in the work.
I mean, maybe we put this podcast on YouTube. I do my burritos reviews on YouTube, so maybe I'm kind of sticking up for the YouTuber here. But like, the people use the word YouTuber like it's like the word like pedophile, like it's some stain. They're like, oh, he's a YouTuber. Like they say it in the wackest like way. So I guess I am gonna stick up for that part. Like YouTube. In my opinion, I have more respect for a person who gets famous and rich off of YouTube than a person who gets famous and rich off of like MTV. Like
Well,
think about it.
yeah, yeah.
He's like a
Oh yeah,
self-made Snooki, like a male Snooki, like a reality star
dude.
essentially. But like he did it to himself, which I respect more. And he probably got to keep more of the profits because it was his own channel, which is probably why he's so damn balling.
Yeah, and we'll keep it pushing. Like we were saying, we'll get to the actual UFC event, but just real fast before we get into that, to Jersey Shore. I went to a Jersey Shore party last night, and that's where this whole outfit comes from. It was tremendous. It's the tank top, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go, dog.
That's great. Dog. I'm currently watching The Sopranos, so yeah, the Jersey energy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We don't got the little 14 karat on them, and then also I got my nose pierced.
Oh man,
just went for it. You know what I'm saying?
Killing them too hard. I feel I usually make like those kind of changes more than one at a time too, man. That's what's up, man. You're looking good. You're looking sharp. Watch out, ladies. Hide your girl. Hide your wife, man. My man out here killing it. But yeah, if you're in the OKC area, my man's gonna be out here dripping on you. But man, we got the prelims. We got Tony Gravely. We got Anthony Burchak. Gravely, huge favorite, minus 360. Burchak, plus 280. Fighting at bantamweight. And we got some fireworks to start the night.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Honestly, Gravely looked sharp. Like, I thought he was going to be a lot more of in a dogfight, essentially. Now, odds obviously show that Burchak's a pretty big dog, but he's tough and usually fires back pretty hard, which he was, honestly. But Gravely was just, the striking was just a clear advantage to him. He was just picking him apart.
Yeah, in the first round, Burchak had a few moments. He was trying to make it scrappy. He got him in the guillotine. He had some, a little bit of
the
mild
guillotine
success.
Was close. The guillotine was
the
close.
grappling. But then at the end of round one, Gravely dropped Burchak, and it was a sign of things to come.
Absolutely.
He pretty much, he was lucky to survive that shot. And then, they come back out for round two, and it didn't take too long. But it was cool because it wasn't like some fluky shot. Like, Gravely was landing that lead left hook the whole fight.
The whole fight.
It was there for him all night, and that's what ended up getting him the TKO finish. He had landed that lead left hook clean for like the 80 millionth time, but he landed this one like
very clean. Like
as
right
clean as it gets. Yeah, he was just perfecting. It was like when you're sighting in a rifle, you get closer and closer to the target, and then he hit the X marks the spot.
And then that nice hammer fist finish too was like, whew. I'd love to see a stat in the UFC on how many knockouts come by combination and how many come by just one-off punches.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That'd be a cool stat.
That would be a good stat. I guess like the last punch on a combination wouldn't count as like a lot. What if, now this is where it gets murky on that stat of like, what if like the first two punches of your combo miss, but then you land on the third? Does that count as a one punch or a combo?
Well, what I'm saying is I'll say two punches or less. So you can throw a 1-2. I'll do 1-2s. But yeah, two punches or less. That's what I'm going to say. Just
of landing, though.
No, they don't have to both land.
Okay, word. Because fighters like punch their way in, like that's like
Right.
Yeah.
But like what I am saying is if you do punch in like a 5-punch combination to get in, right, and you miss the first two, but then you land the last three, that's still 3 landed, so that's not counted, right? Like that's obviously a combination.
What if you just land the last one?
Here's my point.
That's my question. I'm lawyer balling it.
Yeah, no. Here's my point is the only reason you landed that one is because he just had to defend the other 4 and dodge and move.
Oh, no, I agree.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, those punches set up the other punches.
Yes.
So, like, the differentiation is when there's no setup versus when there is a setup. I would love to see, like, the stat on that.
For sure. I rest my case, Your Honor. Yes. No, for sure. That's a very good, very interesting point. But, yeah, Gravely looked great. He looked like a minus 360 favorite. I hate when there's like a minus 400 favorite on the prelim, and then it goes to a fucking split decision. That's so annoying. This is what a minus 360 on the prelim is supposed to look like. And he got rewarded for it. Got $50K, got the performance of the night bonus, looked fantastic. Look at, once again, every week, the bantamweight class is loaded.
Oh,
but seriously, it's so
loaded. It's so thick.
Because Gravely's talented, and he's way down there. So, yeah, he's exciting. But, yeah, as we always talk about, bantamweight's loaded. But he got himself $50K, and we'll keep it pushing. We got Austin Hubbard, minus 190 favorite, fighting Dakota Bush, plus 160 underdog. Dakota Bush, it was his debut. He made the appearance on 1 week notice, late replacement. So respect just for that. You got to have some stones to step into the octagon on 1 week notice.
And honestly, Hubbard's a tough guy too.
Yeah.
Not the easiest night in the octagon to step in on.
On
a week's notice, at least.
Talking about loaded divisions, fighting at lightweight, and man, I thought Bush came out looking great.
Me too, man. I honestly, it was a very 50-50. I was really impressed. I was very impressed.
Because I was like, 1 week late replacement. Like, is he going to get outclassed? Is this going to be another guy that doesn't even look like a UFC fighter? He's just wearing the UFC shorts. We've seen that. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I'd rather not see that. But, no, he got in there and surprised me, man. He made the statement that he belonged in the octagon in that fight on that night, for sure. He looked good.
They have to give him another fight.
Yeah, I gave him round 1, and he had a bad eye poke as well in round 1, and the doctor had to come in and check. He shrugged it off. He got cleared, and they allowed the fight to continue. But yeah, in round 2, I think Hubbard realized he wasn't going to outstrike Bush and decided to, he better get to wrestling.
Yeah, well, he got the takedown at the end of the first round, and I think he realized that it was going to be a position in which he was more controlling, more dominant. Just the better man, I guess. So I did get the first round to Dakota Bush as well. Super close, though. I did write it was a super close round as far as scoring, just because the way the round occurred, right? But
yes.
And then Hubbard won the second round. Dude, Bush was starting to gas, too, you could tell, which obviously is the immediate weight cut he had to go through.
Immediate weight cut, and he might have shot his load in round 1. I mean, he was looking really good. He fought at a high pace in round 1, a high volume. So, and I mean, as a guy who probably most people didn't expect to get to the third round, I mean, he was only a plus 160 underdog, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he was fighting good. But yeah, Hubbard essentially just outlasted him. In the third, he did very similar things he did to round 2. Like you said, he found a path to victory and followed that path, which some people don't like. It definitely wasn't the most exciting fight. I'm not going to hit the snooze button on it. But Hubbard just found a path to victory and followed it, and I'm not mad at him for it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I wouldn't put it in the snoozer category either. I scored it 29-28, like all 3 of the judges did for Hubbard.
Yeah.
However, I wouldn't have been mad at a 29-27 with a 10-8 in the third, because I thought Hubbard was just I thought Bush was just kind of getting ragdolled around in the third.
I do, but
he just wasn't getting. He was defending though, in like the sense of he wasn't taking a lot of damage from it all.
Yeah, and he was competing. Like he wasn't like 10-8 to me is like an uncompetitive round, and I wouldn't classify round 3 of that fight as uncompetitive. Bush was in the fight. He was competing. He was tired. He was getting ragdolled, but yeah, I thought he did enough to keep it at 10-9. But yeah, we both saw it the same way as all 3 judges. Hubbard wins as the minus 190 favorite. We'll keep it pushing. We got Bartosz Fabinski minus 120 favorite fighting Gerald Mearshart plus 100 underdog. Pretty much a toss-up, though. Is this Mearshart first fight since – am I tripping? Or he fought Hamzat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The 17-second one punch.
This was the first fight since then, right? That was the last time we saw him was Hamzat, correct?
Yeah, exactly right. You're exactly right. No, the only reason what I'm saying is that one punch that Mearshart got knocked out with would be in the classification of no setup.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Definitely. Prime example. But man, fight at middleweight, which is just it honestly had to remind me, like, oh yeah, Hamzat used to fight middleweights, like that was a thing when he first came in. So that makes that even more impressive, considering that, like, because back then we didn't really know if he was fighting down to welterweight or
if he was like sucking a bunch of weight or what.
So now we found out that he is in fact a welterweight. So he was essentially fighting up a weight class when he did knock out Mearshart. So that's even more impressive now in hindsight. I don't know if that can get more impressive, but I'm just saying it aged well. It aged well.
Well, and then Mearshart going out and having a great performance in this fight only helps Chimaev. You know what I mean?
Facts.
It's kind of the and we'll get to it later, but God, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. What am I saying? Israel Adesanya last night tweeting, "Good job, my son."
Yeah.
And we'll get to. Well, I mean, he's beaten both those guys, so it doesn't give away who won. I was
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
not to give it away, and then I realized, oh wait, he's beaten both of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, is he sitting king of the castle right now? But to your point, if Mearshart would have came out here and got starched by Fabinski, it does
It
kind of
takes
make the
discount
Shima.
Shimaev.
It,
Yeah, it
it
cheapens
does.
it.
It does. So I didn't even think about that. I'll be real. I didn't even think about that kind of talking point. So thank you for bringing that up.
Oh
Good
yeah,
point.
bro.
But yeah. The reason why we're not getting into the fight yet, because there's not too much to get into, is a pretty fast round one guillotine submission for Gerald Mearshart. He looked really good. Fabinski. At first I thought he never tapped and he went out cold, but then I watched the
Yeah,
replay and he
I
did.
thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, he did get a tap in there. He kind of tapped and passed out kind of simultaneously. But yeah, so that just proves how tight the squeeze was. Mearshart locked in just the tightest guillotine. And yeah, not too much to break down there besides really the storyline of Mearshart not being done and washed, and also like we just said, what that means for the Hamza win makes it that much more impressive. Happy for Mearshart. Also, that was I think his 24th win by submission, which is first all time among middleweights. I believe is first all time among middleweights.
He is a crazy dangerous submission artist, man. Which we didn't really get to see at all in the Shimaev fight, obviously, and he looked scared in that fight, which was so weird.
Well, yeah, and there's levels to submissions, because some submissions, like we always describe, is like on the UFC video game when you beat them within an inch of their life, and you can just throw in whatever submission you want.
Yes.
But like this was a round one submission on a guy who wasn't like hurt. Like it wasn't like he like head kicked him and then submitted him. Like it was a fresh man. Now I know in round one you're less sweaty, which means you're less slippery, which makes it easier to lock in submissions. But on the flip side, you're also submitting a fresh fighter.
True, yeah, someone that should have like their ability to like defend more about them. You know what I mean? And it's not like Fabinski got rocked.
No, that's my point. That's what I found really impressive about it. Was like a if you think of all the submissions you've seen in the past month, a vast majority of them were on guys that were either injured or gassed.
Yes.
And neither one of those boxes were checked on Fabinski, which, listen, maybe I'm just trying to, nut ride Mearshart a little bit, but I don't know. It was, and I wasn't the only one impressed, because he also took home $50K, got the performance of the night bonus, which good for him, man. After taking that ass whooping from Shimaev, coming back, bouncing back, putting on a good performance.
I will say, bro, there were only 2 finishes on the card, and this is the second one of them.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Which like we had more splits than we did
finishes. I was about to say last night was the night of the split decision. Dun dun dun, foreshadowing. But yeah, we have some splits coming up to you, and we'll see if we have any hills to die on. I was actually pretty much cool with them for the most part. I believe.
I mean, honestly, last night I had the weirdest feeling watching the fights late last night, which was like the matchmakers did a good job on getting really even close matchups, like as far as how the fight took place.
Yeah.
But they weren't like the most like firework style matchups, which kind of like was harder to watch in some of those fights.
Yeah, like I saw people on Twitter tweeting about how it was a boring card, how they weren't enjoying it. It definitely wasn't one for the casuals. But like I said, good, because the casuals had somewhere to be last night. You know what I'm saying? Like this one was for the folks that watch every card.
I literally think that was the idea for the UFC, bro. Like I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, seriously.
Like I think they knew this fight was coming, and they were like, "Look, like we're not going to get the casual market tonight." That's why they put it out like on big ESPN to like boost their ratings for people that were just trying to like be at a bar or whatever. Like
I'm still every time a fight's on cable, I get happy for that little kid with that maybe either doesn't have internet or whatever the case may be. Because there's some kid out there that like likes UFC and doesn't get to watch every card. And I'm happy whenever they're on regular TV for those kids. Like that kid would have been me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? But yeah, Mearshart looked really, really good. He got $50K. He got rewarded. It's interesting. He didn't seem done. I don't remember too many specifics from his post-fight interview, but he didn't seem like done or throwing in the towel. So I mean, maybe he can.
He's just one of those guys that like I think is just happy to be in the UFC.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think he understands at this point in his career, like after the Shimaev loss, all that stuff. title aspirations aren't really what I think he has. No offense to him, maybe he does. I don't want to like speak for him, obviously, but how could he? You know what I mean? Like realistically.
I'm gonna make a dark comparison here. Like when people get old and like literally like all their friends are like dead and shit, and it's that has to be how he feels. Like think about how many of his like contemporaries have come and gone. Like he looks in the room and he's like, "What the fuck? These kids are half my age." Like you know what I mean? Or like
Seriously,
I have as many submissions as this guy has years on this planet. Like he just like
honestly,
he's out. Yeah, he's kind of like that at that Frank Gore level. Frank Gore's had a better career probably than Gerald Mearshart. But what I'm saying is like Frank Gore ain't trying to make Pro Bowls anymore. He's happy to still be around,
just getting checks, getting numbers.
Yeah, still, adding to his records. Playing the game he loves, being a part of the sport, adding to his legacy. That's kind of where I think he's at.
And honestly, if you're going out there getting wins and you can still compete at that level. Like, Fabianski's no slouch. Like, he has a fight where he got 14 takedowns in a single fight in the UFC. Because Vettori just broke his record last week. But it's like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's like...
Nice fact. Yeah. Harrison bringing that heat.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out here with him. But it's like, for Fabianski, where does he go from here? You know what I mean? Because this isn't the best L to take. And it's also a guillotine, though, so it's like the argument of, like, he just caught me.
He caught me. You always got that. It honestly, it's going to be one of those things that depends where his contract situation is. Because that's what I'm starting to learn. Because, like, it's one of those things, like, if that was his last fight on his contract, probably not the greatest thing. But if he has fights on his contract still, then it really doesn't matter. They'll use them on prelims and get their money's worth out of him. You know what I mean? That's how the UFC's business model is. I'm starting to, figure that out. But yeah, man, we can keep it pushing. Because I actually thought this Penne Godinez fight, even though they kept saying Godinez, every time I've seen this name, it's been pronounced Godinez. Maybe it's Godinez. I don't know. But we had Jessica Penne plus 230 after 4 years off to USADA bans.
Cheating going on.
Yeah, versus Lupita Godinez, who I think she's an LFA champ or just she's done really well in LFA. I don't know if she has a belt or not. But minus 280, I believe, making her debut. She's 5-0, so young but really promising and really talented.
I like that you called her Lupita. I respect that.
Is that not what is it? Is it?
That's her real name is Lupita, but she goes by Loopy. I literally wrote in my notes Loopy Godinez.
Hey, what can you do? If her mama named her Lupita, I'm gonna call her Lupita. You know what I mean? But
all
yeah,
right,
man.
All right. On that Kamaru, not Marty. All right, I got you.
Man, but fighting at strawweight, and yeah, man. I mean, I guess after 4 years off, and at her age, it's impressive that she even made strawweight. So I guess kudos to that. But
how old is she? Know. Did you notice her actual age?
I want to say 38.
We need to interview Jamie that played lacrosse from OBU that played lacrosse. All right, shout out to Jamie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
should have played a cooler sport, Jamie.
Penne was the plus 230 dog in this, right? And Godinez was the minus 280 favorite. 115, like you said. Now, you had texted me talking about like what are some upsets we could rock with. This was like the one I liked actually.
Yeah, you like Penne in this one. Also, real quick, as far as just how. In MMA and in UFC in particular, narrative and media spin is a very big part of this whole thing here that we watch and we enjoy. And they were I don't know, it's so bizarre to me. Did you not feel like they were trying to spin Penne as the victim? And like they talked about how like, she's overcome so much and this time off. I had to do my own research to find out by the time off was for USADA. They didn't bring it up. They made it seem like she was such a victim and poor.
You want to inform the viewer of what she was suspended for?
Go ahead. You tell me. I just saw that she banned substance. I didn't even get into like what it was.
So the first one, it was like, I think the way it works is she got caught twice, right, to get the 4 years.
Yeah.
So the first one, I believe, was like a diuretic or something like that. Like
for helping cut weight.
Yeah, exactly. Or masking steroids, like either one.
Yeah. Sure.
But then the second one was like the same shit that like John Jones went through, was like the clomiphene shit.
Oh man. Well, either way, man. Like,
So she kind of got fucked on the second one, which was like the super long suspension. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Now,
But
do I think she was cheating the first time? Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's definitely somebody that's hard to feel bad for. And if you were watching the card last night, you would have thought that she got, like, her baby stolen or something, the way they were talking about it.
Bisping and Cruz are funny together, though, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like that combo.
Yeah, and I think Bisping's getting better. I think Bisping was able to take some constructive criticism. Because you remember, I don't know, it was a month, 2 months ago, where we both roasted him. It was unbearable. It was just him and Fitzgerald one night. And it was it was him, Fitzgerald, and Felder, or who?
Yeah, him, Felder, and Anik. And he kept saying, like, sorry. He kept, like, apologizing to Anik and shit. And it was like, and he was doing it a little bit last night, but it was like Bisping, just get the flow. But with Fitzgerald and Cruz, he was good.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, good point. But man, round one of this Penne Godinez fight, very close. Penne took Godinez's back, threatening subs for like the whole last 90 minutes or 90 seconds of round one. I thought that was enough to steal the round for Penne, but like really up until those final 90 minutes or 90, I keep saying 90 minutes, 90 seconds. Godinez, she was landing big shots up until that point, but I think the final 90 seconds of Penne having her back and getting some deep sub attempts in, I think that was enough to steal the round. What do you think, my friend?
I'm with you, bro. I'm lockstep with you, honestly. Like, I thought that Loopy won like the first maybe
3-ish,
2-3 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like it wasn't like it just, and this bringing up one FC. Like, if it wasn't points, like, by the end of the round, Jessica Penne had overcome, like, what was done, and I feel like was more threatening as far as, like, and position control as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I scored it 10-9 to Penne based on that. You know what I mean? I felt like she was ahead in the fight at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And then Penne learned from what her success in round one and built upon that, because in round two, she came out and got her back for even earlier in the round this time, and really just let her grappling do the work, really kind of, because I think what it was is that Godinez was hurting her with the hands, and I think if this was a striking match, probably would have been the more dangerous fighter. And Penne recognized that recognized game, was like, all right, we're about to grapple, and like I said, she took her back again in round two, and I think it was enough for her to win round two as well, 10-9.
Yeah. So round two, I was like really, really close on. Really close on.
Really?
Yeah. I was really close because I thought Godinez was like hurting Penne when she was landing in round two.
Yeah, but that's what. Well, really throughout the whole fight, and that's to Godinez's credit. And it's like, not, I guess, spoiler alert, not every L's a bad L, because she looked good. Like, she was cracking.
Oh, yeah.
She was throwing hard. She was landing clean. But I just, I thought after every time that Penne would seem to be hurt or wobbled or have a nice shot landed all on her, that grappling was just in her back pocket for her to go to. And then, like I said, anytime Penne engaged in the grappling, she immediately kind of put water on the fire and took control of the fight, in my opinion. So, yeah,
I mean, and like I said, I'm completely 50-50 on that round. So either way you score it, I have no problem with it. Now in the third round,
the only reason I'm so shocked, I thought round one was closer than round two, in my opinion. But yeah, different people see different things. That's why I love talking to you about it. But I thought round one was close. But yeah. So what did you officially have? Did you give that one to Godinez?
The second round, yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Word.
So I had it 19-19 going to the third. No, I'm sorry. No. I gave it to Penne. The second. I gave it the second to Penne. Yeah. Because I had 2018 going to the third. I was looking at my notes and I said, I was like, no.
Okay. Me too. But then in round three, I thought I gave round three to Godinez, man.
I did as well. As well. I thought that she actually started piecing her up more and was able to stay on the feet more and defend takedowns.
And I thought she was fresher, especially after getting, like, I thought, as we all know, wrestling takes a lot out of you. And, like, those 2 rounds of wrestling and grappling and eating shots for Penne was I thought it was wearing on her. She was showing it in round 3, and I thought in round 3 Godinez was the fresher fighter, landing the harder shots, was able to kind of avoid those long grappling scenarios, and so yeah, I gave Godinez round 3, and I think so. We ended. This is our first split decision of the night, which like I said, that was the theme of the night last night was split decisions. But 2 judges, 28-29 Penne, 1 judge, 29-28 Godinez, and so we saw it like the 2 judge. So we're not rolling out any hills to die on here. I saw it just like they did, and just like you did as well.
And honestly, even if Godinez had been given the fight, I wouldn't have been like super mad about it. Like it was a close fight.
This was one of those like classic kind of position versus damage debates. Like if you're all in on damage only, like you could have given it to Godinez, which is like that one judge did, because the whole fight Godinez was landing the bigger, more impactful strikes.
Do you think, based on one scoring rules, that this would have been a win for Godinez?
Not to me, because I thought 1 and 3. No, I thought 1 and 2 were Penne, which I know there's no rounds. But I'm just saying like Godinez finishing it. You're right.
Like, and how
You're
close
right.
1 and 2 are. Like, did she finish so strong that she would have won the fight? I kind of think she would have, honestly. Like, because visually she was beating her up at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if she would have broken her nose or had more like just optics,
got her like really leaking.
Optics, more damage optic wise, I think you could probably have a better argument there.
Or scored a knockdown, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I guess what we're getting at is Penne, especially after not being in the cage for however many years, and she was on a 3-fight skid whenever she got suspended. So after not winning or really performing well in a long time, her chin, she wore the damage. She wore those shots really well, which can't be understated whenever it comes to the scorecards.
Absolutely. I mean, DC does talk about, though, like when you take a long time off from like, fights or getting like hit in the head, essentially, like taking that hard head trauma, it helps your chin. Like it only helps the more time you can take in between fights.
Yeah, I think that was on full display, bro, because she was eating shots and like wearing shots well, and so she gets the win. Like I said, split decision. But Cassius is a plus 230 underdog, so yeah, we should have put a little cheddar on that. Hindsight 2020 champion over here, but
yeah, and with my phone and everything I was going through yesterday, I just had a too busy of a day, man. I apologize.
Oh no worries, bro. Like I said, I'm the hindsight 2020 champion. If I would have actually put money on that, I would have been sweating hard with that split decision. But we can keep it pushing, man, because I'm actually really excited to talk about this next fight.
Me too.
Yeah, this next
I've
fight
never seen this before.
Plenty of fat to chew on, metaphorically and physically. Go ahead and introduce it while I take this down.
Yeah, sure. So it's heavyweights, talking about fat. That's Beefy Boy Summer coming up, by the way. Not a white boy summer, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, Chet Hanks. It's a Beefy Boy Summer, which is Alexander Romanov, minus 140, fighting Juan Espino at plus 120. These were some funny heavyweight nicknames, King Kong versus El Guapo. Love that.
I have this weird thing, and I've always been this way, just in my personal life, at school, wherever, where I remember faces horrible with names. And so like when I was looking at this card on paper, I was like, Juan Espino, all right, whatever. But then I saw his face and I was like, oh, Juan Espino. Like, I don't know the way my brain works with faces. I'll recognize that handsome motherfucker anywhere.
And Romanov, obviously, I was super high on him coming in.
Yeah, me too. Like I was super high on Romanov, but that's what I'm saying. I was like, who's this guy he's fighting? And then the minute I saw him, and I was like, oh, this is the guy. Okay, for sure. But yeah, we're both high on Romanov because of his just dominant grappling. And he up to this point, he's been one of the few heavyweights to blend wrestling with submission ability. That you don't see that as often with the heavyweights, and that's kind of what separates him as like a prospect. And so, yeah, we're both really high on Romanov, and I have this one circled.
Absolutely, I did too. Now, I did think
undefeated Romanov. Sorry, we haven't mentioned that yet. Undefeated, 13-0 coming into this.
Yep. Now, I thought Romanov didn't look to be in the best shape. Like I thought he looked a little fatter than he did in his last fight.
Me too. I thought the same thing. A little more jiggle a little less
Yeah, everything was a little
cardio.
jiggly. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
bro, wasn't looking tight for sure.
Meanwhile, Espino looked great. His arms were
Oh,
shredded
Spino's jacked. Yeah, Spino's first team all body if we're talking heavyweights.
for sure.
Now, yeah, like I said, but Romanov, I think, is it a little rest on his laurels? Like, because his first two victories were dominant. So do you think it's a little bit of like, oh, this UFC stuff is easy? I can maybe, because if that's his mentality, I mean, that's not a great place to be this early on. I mean, 2-0 isn't 10-0. You know what I'm saying?
I hope that's not his mentality, but he does kind of have that like air about him that he like feels like he's bigger than he is.
I feel you. I feel you. But yeah, he's still really good. He's still but yeah, I feel you. He didn't seem as prepared for this one. But let's get into the fight because round one was a close round. And I actually gave it to Espino 10-9. He had two
Oh, I did for
takedowns.
sure.
And then what I thought was really impressive, especially like I said, I think Romanov was the bigger man. Now, how much of that was good weight and bad weight, but regardless, he was the bigger, heavier man. So whenever Romanov took down Espino and Espino was able to get up relatively quickly and easily, I thought that was a great sign for Espino. And he was able to use Romanov's weight against him with those trips and those judo throws. And it kind of, like we said, kind of points to like maybe if Romanov was in a little bit better shape, maybe some of those trips and throws maybe don't work as well. I mean, maybe they do, but he seemed a little bit like just kind of uncoordinated, sloppy out there, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I thought Romanov just didn't look like his like normal self. Well, the second round he started to really come on, but like it's like he wasn't really awake in the first round or something. I don't know.
True that. Slow start. Fair to say,
Yeah,
slow start.
and he got thrown pretty hard, which as soon as he got thrown, my like jaw was dropped because that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a Greco-Roman grappler.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like upper body lock throws are like what he does. So like when Espino threw him, I was like, oh, like this might be real bad for Romanov. Now, what I did think was also interesting was when Espino got him on the ground, got to full mount. As soon as he got to mount, Romanov literally just rolled over and got up.
He got up. He's such a strong man. I mean, we can't undersell that. I mean, we've kind of clowned him. We kind of called him fat. But at the end of the day, he is a absolute beast and a very athletic guy. And yeah, very, very explosive as well, especially for a heavyweight. Now, round two, he did look much better. He spent a lot more time on top, and he was able to land some of his signature King Kong style ground and pound, where he literally just like what's that, whack-a-mole? He is fucking playing whack-a-mole on Espino's head. But yeah, it was a great, beautiful ground and pound. Really showed the power. Now, both guys did start to fade, though. I don't think this is a fight anybody in the building, including those two men, expected to go to the third round, but that's what we got. So they were both beefy boys, and they were both breathing hard going into three.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, three is where it gets really interesting because we didn't get a whole lot into three, right? 2 minutes maybe?
You're fucking right. Yeah, I think it was about 2 minutes into round three. You're exactly right. And Romanov took a bad groin shot. And
it looked like it hurt.
Yeah, I thought it was very bad. I heard other people, what was it, Bisping or no, it was on the post-fight show. It was Joban and Chiesa. They were saying like, oh, I don't know how bad that was. He kind of oversold it. I don't know. You take a knee to the dick from a guy like
Juan Espino.
Like Juan Espino. He's a huge jack guy. I disagree. I thought it was plenty hard enough. And anybody that knows that's been hitting the nuts knows that it's not even so much about how hard as about just that perfect little placement. Like a little millimeter to the left or right can make a huge difference on those nut shots. So if you eat a bad one on the wrong spot, I don't think he was overselling it or being dramatic at all.
And what he was saying to the doctor when he was on the ground, when they were asking him or talking to him, at one point what I could hear from it, because sometimes you couldn't quite hear the audio from the translator. But one of the things he said was he can't extend his leg fully. Every time he does, he has internal pain.
Yeah.
And it's sounds kind of like did he just like get a hernia from like getting hit in the nuts so hard?
I mean, who knows, man? It didn't look good. But one thing Chiesa and Joe Ban were pointing out, which I think is fair to point out, is him and his camp were like asking I forget if it was the doctor or the ref. They
Yeah,
were
what
asking.
happens? What happens if I don't continue?
Yes, which.
And the doctor handled that beautifully, by the way.
Yeah, he did. He said that's not what did he say? Like that's
He
not what
said,
I'm here to.
he said, I'm not here to give you advice on the fight. He said, I'm just here to ask you questions about how you feel medically.
Yes, which is he knocked that out of the park. But that leads to people not giving him the benefit of the doubt. That's why a lot of people. Oh, I don't know if you saw this on your Twitter feed, but my Twitter feed was a bunch of people like comparing him to Aljamain Sterling, which naturally I'm gonna push back against that because I didn't think Aljamain Sterling was faking either. So and naturally those same people think that same thing. I think this says more about those people than it does either of those fighters. I don't think either of them were faking. I give them each the benefit of the doubt. But Romanov asking those questions was a kind of a bad look. But I guess I also don't, blame him for trying to, like, get as much information as possible before making a decision. Like, isn't that what we all do, right? When we're faced with a decision, like, we try to, like, gather as much information as possible to make an informed decision. Like, I mean, I think that's pretty, but like I said, I understand how it's kind of murky, and you said the doctor handled it perfectly, but I don't necessarily, I'm not super mad at Romanov like some people are for asking the question.
Yeah, but it's almost like flops in the NBA are, you know what I mean? Like they give you flop warnings now and stuff, finally. And it's just like you're not supposed to take advantage of the rules like that. If that was indeed his intention.
Yes. And I feel like you also kind of got to give him another little benefit of the doubt when it comes to the language barrier. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think that's super important. I think that's good. Great point.
Yeah, like,
Super important.
I'm not going to like just, like hammer this guy over this. I'm not. Some people are. I'm not. I don't think you are either. But I think we're both a little questionable, but we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. But
I
anyway,
think he was more trying to ask, like, am I disqualified if I can't continue?
Good point. And I guess we'll never truly know. But the important thing here is because they were over halfway through the fight, that they still went to the scorecards, which also may have been what he was asking about. And because I guess this gets real murky, like we saw happen with Aljamain Sterling, and we've seen it happen. Fights get stopped at a certain point. A guy can't go. A certain guy's wanted, DQ. There's different outcomes that can happen depending on how far of the fight you're into it.
Well, and it depends on the like the situation of by which the fight is stopped, right? Like there was an accidental
100%.
right? So like, whereas for Aljo, like Jan got warned, like, hey, he's grounded. Yeah. Boom, hits him with a knee in the head, and it's like it's for Mark Smith, who was the ref in that fight. Was Mark Smith the ref in this fight as well? He was.
Yeah.
So weird.
He seemed very prepared for it, though. He handled it well. Yeah. I have no complaints, which we know he's our dog. But also a new term that we rarely hear, or I haven't heard, and I don't know ever, a very long time. Technical decision. It's not that I didn't know it was a thing, but it's just like, oh yeah, like when we think of outcomes like split decisions, majority draws, we rarely get the technical decision.
Yeah, that might be the most rare.
Even rarer than that is the technical split decision, which is what we got last night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the technical split decision might be the most rare thing you can get.
That's rare for sure. So I guess, like, I don't know, if you're a nerd like me, you think that shit's cool. But anyway, so we go to the and I think it's important to note, at least on my scorecard, I had Espino winning 3 up until the knee shot or the groin shot. Did you?
Yes, I had Espino winning 1. I had Romanov.
No, but I'm talking
2.
about round 3. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, like, I had it 19-19 going into the third.
Me too.
And then in the first 2 minutes of the third round, which is all we got, obviously, I think Espino won that. So I had it 29-28 Espino.
Okay, me too. So Romanov. So one judge goes 29-28 Romanov. Actually, 2 judges go 29-28 Romanov, and 1 judge goes 29-28 Espino. Technical split decision, as me and Harrison said, super rare. We both actually, like, finger to the fire if we were, or feet to the fire if we're a judge. We both had it to Espino, though. But I don't think a fight this weird, this wonky, and considering the fact that I think certain judges, for right, wrong, or
The
indifferent,
knee is the reason it
like
stopped, and they're like that. They're
I'm
like
not rewarding you for that.
right, and they're like, well, Mark Smith didn't take a point, but like you're not going to win the round because like you're the reason the fight stopped.
Which I'm not going to
I
roll off
kind
the
of
hill and die on for that.
right. That's
I'm not.
and honestly, normally would we both not be like roll out the hill? Like I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
believe it. But
Not.
in this situation, it's exactly like that where it's like, uh, Jesus, my brain is dumb.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Just like a scenario where it's hard to reward. In my opinion, at least what I was going to think, and maybe you were going this direction, is that like it's you don't want to reward the guy who fucked up. Essentially, boiled down to nuts and bolts of it would have been. I'm not mad at any judge for giving this fight to Romanov, and I think Romanov will tell you he didn't want to win the fight by getting kneed in the nuts. So I think that everybody can believe you whenever he says that. But anyway, he remains undefeated as I guess the most important part of all of this. But yes, technical split decision, super rare. Romanov now 14-0. And I mean, I'll be real. I mean, I don't think you can say Hype Train loses steam. Now, he didn't, he stopped steamrolling through people as easily as he was, but that's going to happen the higher ranks, the higher you go. And Juan Espino's he's not trash. So, I thought it was a good test for him. He gets the win. He remains undefeated. Probably one of the more, like, exciting heavyweight prospects, undefeated heavyweights out there. He's, I said he's not flawless, and he does, I think, need to get the conditioning in check, especially when he starts fighting better guys. But, I mean, he's a promising up-and-coming heavyweight. I'll be looking, I got my eye on him, as they say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I like Espino a lot, and I think Romanov's getting probably close to the top 15, so I think Espino is probably right there as well, to be quite honest. And the odds makers kind of saw it that way, too.
Espino fought him good. I think, I thought when I first saw these odds, I thought it was a little close, and then Espino proved Vegas right, which was the theme of the night. I'll get to that. There was a couple of fights where I was like, either a couple of fights that Vegas thought was going to be close that I thought wasn't going to be close, and then there's fights that Vegas had a big money line on and I thought was going to be close. I was wrong both times. But hey, we'll keep it pushing to the main card if that's cool with you. You need a break?
No, I'm good. I was just gonna say. I remember what I was gonna say. It was kind of like a makeup call is in other sports. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as the judges giving Romanov the round. It's kind of how it feels to me. It's like a makeup call.
Yeah, like I said, if I was a judge right there with my scorecard, I would be faced with a really tough decision of like technically I was giving that round to Espino, but I'm not about to give Espino this fight for fucking up and doing an illegal knee. So I totally understand that kind of decision, and you got to make a decision, and I'm happy with the decision they made.
Yeah, Kenneth wants to know who the refs were last night. There were 4, Kenny, because originally it was a 14 or 13 fight card, but we had so many fights knocked off, it got down to 10. But the 4 guys were Herb Dean, of course. I don't really love Herb Dean that much anymore. We also had Chris Tognoni, however you want to say it. I don't love him that much either.
Mark Smith. There's our dog.
We had no nonsense Keith Peterson.
That's right.
And then we also had Mark Smith, who we love. So yeah, man, it's honestly three refs I hate. I don't really love Herb Dean, man. I mean, before we get in the main card, do you like Herb Dean? Like, where would you put him as far as the refs? Like, I think you would agree with me that we have Herzog and Mark Smith, like probably 1 and 2. But then I definitely think that there's other refs that I like more than Herb Dean still. You know what I mean? Like for me, I would have Mark Goddard and probably Mike Beltran.
Yeah, Herb Dean. I'm about middle of the road on Herb Dean. When I have Herb Dean, when I see Herb Dean, I'm not alarmed, oh shit, this is gonna be whack. But I've cooled on him. I think is a good verbiage to use. I've cooled on Herb Dean. Yeah, we're big on Mark Smith. We both like Goddard.
Herzog.
We're both big on Herzog. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think Herb Dean is just been involved in some too many whack scenarios lately, and hopefully, hopefully the second and third quarter of 2021 will be a little bit better to him. But let's get to this main card. We got definitely on Mount Rushmore nicknames. We got Luis
the best.
Pena, Violent Bob Ross. Seriously, I don't know if it gets better than that. All of mixed martial arts. Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena, who's the 6'3" lightweight. Always interesting to watch him fight. And it's always interesting to see how that range affects how a fight plays out. Minus 155 favorite. He's fighting Alex Munoz, plus 130 underdog. So I'm fighting at lightweight, but like I said, it's always crazy watching a 6'3" lightweight.
That's so crazy, man. 155 be 6'3".
That's wild.
It's like Jalen Turner fights at 170 and he's 6'3". You know what I mean? And he's also extremely long like that. So
and Pena, he's not stick thin. You know what I mean?
No, he's got a pretty good build to him. He's just super lean. Super lean,
exactly. And also it's important. I wanted to note Alex Munoz, former Oklahoma State wrestler. So that's they got an established wrestling program over there at Stillwater. But so I don't know. Can you hear my ESPN app just going ham right now?
No.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that audio doesn't come through. I don't know. Something's happening in the sports world. I don't know. Woj is dropping bombs over or what's going on. But yeah. Anyway, we got Pena, we got Munoz. That's what's important. And this fight was a banger. I really enjoyed this fight. I really did.
Dude, I loved this fight.
Yeah, man. Right. How'd you see round one?
So, I thought that Munoz won the start of the round. I thought he had the better pace and kind of position to start. Pena was a little bit better striker, and then Pena finished stronger. I literally didn't write my score because I wasn't mad at either guy that won it.
But at the very end of the round,
I kind of leaned to Pena, I think.
I feel you. It was a banger. It was close. It was essentially a coin flip. I'm not mad at you for giving an opinion. I lean Munoz because, like you said, it was a coin flip, right? And I've been well documented on the podcast saying if it's a if it's a coin flip and somebody ends on top or lands a big shot late, okay, you stole the round. And I think that's what happened because actually Munoz had a big flurry at the very, very end of the round and landed some pretty hard shots. So I don't know. It's a very close round. It's a toss up. I lean Munoz. You lean Pena. That's interesting. We'll see how that comes to play further on. Round two, I thought was Munoz's best round of the fight. He was landing big. He was landing hard. But Pena also had his moments with that long jab and just being so long. And he looked good. He was stuffing the takedown.
I scored round two to Munoz. I thought Munoz started implementing his game plan a little more, started getting a little more effective, grappling going, was honestly handling the striking a little better. He was making you could tell he was making adjustments in between the round, which was good to see.
Yes, I agree. Round two, Munoz's best round, 10-9 Munoz. So I had it 2018 going into three. You had it 19-19 going into three.
Yeah.
And I think that's like I said, very interesting to see how that plays into the final judging. But round three, man, a brand new Pena showed up. I don't know who that guy in the first two round was.
He was in flow state in round three, bro. Yeah, he looked so good.
He looked ridiculously good. And, sometimes it takes that little first, second round, kind of get your timing, get your – or maybe he thought that he was in jeopardy of losing and he knew he had to step on the gas. But, whatever he was taking in round three, I'll take two because he looked amazing.
Yeah.
He was in I literally have flow state in my notes just like you. Definition of flow state. He looked like a different guy in round three. Round three, obviously 10-9 Pena. So this is very interesting. Round one, very close kind of toss-up banger. Round two, Munoz's best round. Round three, Pena's best round. Very interesting fight to score. Like I said, if we're using the one rules, I think Pena gets it because of just how strong he looked at the end, how fresh he looked at the end.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, and Munoz was starting to gas. Like I said, I'm definitely the judge. All right, so another split decision. Like I said, it's not the night of the living dead. It's the night of the living split last night. We had split decision 4 days. We had 2 judges for 29-28 Pena, 1 judge 29-28 Munoz, which reflects perfectly in our scorecards. I'm actually glad we disagreed because I don't know, I think it's fun whenever the judges disagree, we disagree, we can all kind of agree it was a good fight, and no, I don't think any hills need to be rolled out to die on. So, like I said, I'm definitely
surprised that didn't get fight of the night, to be honest.
I am so glad you said that, bro. That one or the next one. I thought the next fight could have been a candidate for fight of the night. Maybe I'm just I do like Tracy Cortez, but like I thought
she missed weight.
Oh,
so
good point.
So the double bag would go to Kish, and I don't want to give it up, but you know.
Great point. So yes, I thought this was a great candidate for fight of the night, and I thought that the fight that did win fight of the night wasn't that great of a fight. So yeah,
not more so than the one we just covered or this next one.
Right there with you. But so it was actually, I just want to point it out. Whenever I was scrolling through Twitter, actually right after the Cortez Kish fight, waiting for the Al Hassan Malkoun fight to start, and I saw somebody saying like, "Oh, this UFC card's kind of lame tonight," or something to those effects. And it was, like I said, it was right after and I was like, man, I don't know about you, I really enjoyed Pena Munoz and Cortez Kish. Like I don't know because it was like right after those 2 fights when he tweeted, you just watched those 2 fights? Like, I understand tweeting that before those 2 fights, but after those 2 fights, you're gonna tweet it.
Man, I was gonna wait till the end of the card, but I to say this or like the breakdown, but I thought it was the worst card of the year.
Was the Holland Brunson card worse than this or better than this one?
I feel like it was.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I have the memory of
8 decisions.
Yeah, I can't remember shit, but I feel you. Yeah, but I don't know though. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. If you're gonna give me 8 decisions, but like how many? 4 of them were splits. Like,
yeah,
that's interesting. You can't say it's not interesting. But interesting and exciting are 2 different things.
True.
So, I think we cracked that nut for sure. But like I said, I thought these 2 fights were my 2 favorite fight of the night: Munoz Pena and Cortez Kish. So yeah, let's get to Cortez Kish because I love this fight and it was a lot of fun. Because it was also a unique scenario where Cortez was moving from 35 to 25. Kish was moving from 15 to 25. So we had 2 people debuting in a weight class, but one was coming down and one was moving up. I'm a big fan of the matchmakers for doing that. That's fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, it sucks. I said Cortez missed weight. She missed it by 1/2 pound. It's like, fuck,
I'm not mad at
bro.
her. I'm not mad at her. Like I said, and I'm kind of a Cortez fan, so it's like, I give her a pass for that. I don't know. Now, if it's I'll say it's not a great sign when you move down a weight class and miss weight on your first time. Like, can't she keep doing it? Like,
but maybe she just had to learn how to do it. You know what I mean?
Also valid. Like I said, yeah, she definitely, like I said, I'm not super mad at it. And she still performed well. If she would have been out there looking like shit, I would be much more concerned.
Yeah, and this weight class needs bodies, too. We always talk about how 125 is the weakest division in the whole UFC.
Star power, for sure.
So, Cortez is the minus 330 favorite, and Kish is the plus 260 underdog. Those are correct, I believe?
Yeah. Okay. I had 330 and 260. Yes, sir.
Okay. And 125, like we said. Now, like we said, night of the splits. We got another one coming up, so it tells you it's another banger of a fight, which you also alluded to earlier.
Yeah, I liked
it. I scored the first to Cortez, honestly, man. I thought that she was the more crisp striker, and she won the grappling exchanges.
Bro, on a night full of middleweights and heavyweights and guys that fancy themselves power punchers, the most violent ground and pound of the night was Tracy Cortez.
100%.
Fuck you if you're a women's MMA hater, because, like I said, on a night full of badass strikers and violent dudes, Tracy Cortez had the best and most violent and most impactful ground and pound strikes of the whole card. And I was a big fan of it. Yeah, no, for sure. Which in round 1 I thought was on full display because she had 3 minutes of grapple control And like honestly, usually if you tell me 3 minutes of grapple control, my hand starts gravitating towards the snooze button. But like Cortez made it entertaining. She was, she was doing damage and like being impactful and just, like I said, being violent is what she was being. Her ground and pound was great.
Yeah, I agree, man. And then honestly, in the second round, like I thought Cortez kind of kept it up and honestly won the second with pretty much more of the same stuff, was just kind of more crisp.
As much as I've been sucking Cortez's dick, I actually gave round 2 to Kish.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a banger. I thought so, and this is the thing. Throughout the whole night, I thought Kish had the advantage in the stand-up, and I thought Cortez had the advantage in the ground game. And in round 2, Kish was managed to pretty much keep it on the feet. Which, if you're seeing it my way, you see how I'm starting to lean Kish. You know what I mean? I thought whenever they were standing, I thought Kish was looking crisp with the striking. It's just whenever Cortez could get her hands on her, it was game over. But I said in round 2, Kish on the.
You hear me?
I got to get a pass. It was Mama Vin.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. You're good.
But yeah, I was just saying how, Kish was able to keep it on the feet in 2, and I thought Kish had an advantage on the feet. It was a close banger. It was a coin flip. Not dying on any hills. Not mad at you. But I happened to lean Kish in round 2. She was landing the straight shots. Everything Cortez was throwing was wide, and everything Kish was throwing was straight. Typically, straight beats wide, and I thought that's what was happening in round 2. But it was a close round. Not mad at it at all. And then, you know what? Round 3, I was conflicted, man, because I thought Cortez looked amazing. And like once again, this is when the ground and pound got really violent, like Khabib-esque. Like she was looking great with the ground and pound. But then, as I alluded to earlier, Kish was able to get it back to the feet, get some distance, and then Kish was able to drop Cortez. And I don't care. Cortez was saying she slipped. She made like 10 different excuses in like 2 different interviews.
Yeah.
Like seriously, she was like, all right, I'm gonna try this excuse and this excuse. She got dropped. I mean, that's my official take. If it's hot, let me know. But I don't think it is. I think she got dropped. She was making excuses saying she slipped. I deemed it a drop, so I leaned Kish in round 3, even though, I mean, it was a super close round, and I loved the ground and pound. But the fact that Kish was able to recover from said ground and pound and then drop Cortez at the end of the round, and I said, it's close. It's a coin flip, but I go Kish in 3.
So I'm actually right there with you. I gave Kish round 3, but where we differ is that means you scored at 29-28 for Kish. I had it 29-28 for Cortez. But I also thought that the third round was super, super close, and I could have seen it for Cortez as well, which would have made it possibly a 30-27 if I had scored it that way.
Which all 3 of those were exactly what were represented in the scorecard. We had one 29-28 for Cortez, which is yours, one 29-28 for Kish, which is mine, and then the hypothetical you just threw out, one judge actually gave it 30-27 Cortez, which I'm really not mad at.
Yeah, right. Super close fight. Super close fight.
I love this fight. That's why I'm so like juiced on this fight. Like I said, I leaned Kish, but I thought Cortez performed great. Like I said, I loved that ground and pound. I thought it was very entertaining. But Cortez gets the win. She was a -330 favorite. I mean, Kish fought her ass off. Cortez looked good. Once again, not rolling out the hill to Donald. Just another very, very, very close split decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in the next fight, bro, I'm honestly going to pull out the snooze button. I hated the next fight, dude. It was like tough.
Well, and once again, this was a card full of people changing weight classes, by the way. Another theme. I know the split decisions. If there wasn't so many split decisions, I think that would have been the theme of the card because this was Abdul Razak Hassan's first fight at middleweight, I do believe. And he was moving up.
He came up from welterweight, yeah. And he was the minus 300 favorite.
And he looked so thick. Like, he looked like he was just, eating good, which sometimes can be a good thing. In this case was a bad thing because I don't know. I guess he was – you can't move up a weight class and then gas out. In my opinion, that's a bad look. And I think that's exactly what happened. Would you not agree? That's like essentially
absolutely,
the narrative of this fight. No,
excuse
some popular dudes, bro.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I need to throw my phone. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, what I was gonna say though is that it's crazy to think that he gassed out, but he is typically like a stand-up striking guy. Like, he doesn't wrestle, and when you have to wrestle like Malkoun was forcing so much, it probably wore him out, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, it probably just drained the life out of him.
Yeah, for sure. And Malkoun, famously Robert Whittaker's teammate. And, honestly, we can kind of cut through the shit on this one. Malkoun pretty much just out-wrestled him for 3 rounds. Round 2 was pretty dominant. I had it possible 10-8, and I didn't end up giving him one, neither did the judges. But it was bell-to-bell dominance in round 2 for Malkoun. I thought that was his best round. He had a couple of deep submission attempts. But, yeah, I'm sorry to hit the fast forward on that one, but you're right. It was kind of a snoozer. But, understandably, like, I'm not holding that against Malkoun for not wanting to stand and beg with Al Hassan. He neutralized him with the wrestling. Didn't do a ton of damage with the wrestling. It was a lot of position wrestling. And, not the most exciting on the eyes or probably the ears. So we'll keep it pushing pretty fast. Malkoun, plus 240 underdog, though. That's kind of the most exciting part about this whole thing. He does cash as an underdog. I thought I could see Vegas just thinking Al Hassan at 185 was just going to be a monster, but and just punch his head off. But, how many times have we seen wrestling beat a big athletic striker? It's just you can set your watch to it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say I was that surprised. Honestly, that's another one probably should have put some bread on. But I want to say this fight was essentially foreshadowing, though, because whenever they're saying how he always trains with Robert Whittaker and he comes out and his wrestling looks that good, you kind of see where I'm getting at here. It kind of made you and Robert Whittaker was fighting a wrestler in Gastelum, so you kind of see where I started to feel pretty good about Whittaker after watching Malkoun.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And like, I'm so in on Whittaker. Like, now I was pretty big on Malkoun in his first fight out too, and he fought Phil Hawes and got knocked out brutally, and it sucked. And so like, I kind of thought like the UFC wasn't really doing him any favors, giving him Abdul Razak Al Hassan
kind of a similar.
Similar guy, like hard puncher, like wants to get you up against the cage and just like put damage on you. And then also to answer Sean's questions in the chat, no, I can't answer my phone because he's who called me, because we obviously do this from my phone. Yeah, right. And then
get the fuck out of here.
And then he asked us about Askren getting laid out. We covered it earlier, but yeah, Jake Paul's he might be that dude. But yeah, back to the UFC. Malkoun, I don't know what they're going to do with him here moving forward. I don't know, like, what I don't know what this is.
Very, very slow for the middleweight division.
Yeah.
He looks so slow.
And he's supposed to be a really good boxer as well, and I didn't really, see that last night.
Yeah, he looked slow, and maybe just because people look slow in their wrestling, but I don't know. He didn't seem explosive to me. But it's hard to beat a guy up too hard whenever he wins as a plus 240 underdog. You kind of got to get it how you live, win by any means necessary. Because Al Hassan is a dangerous fighter. So, listen, I'm not going to hold it against him too much. But, yeah, it wasn't one of my favorite fights of the night. Now, quick question here, because we're about to get to what became the co-main, but wasn't initially supposed to be the co-main. Jakar Close was supposed to fight Jeremy Stephens, and at the weigh-ins, Jeremy Stephens did this dramatic push, which we see people push and shove at weigh-ins all the time. But the Jeremy Stephens push was pretty impactful, and and Jakar Close essentially got whiplash from it, like
Bro, it
confirmed
was
by a
so
doc.
whack of Jeremy Stevens to do that. Like that was some like low level bullshit to pull, dude. Like you're in the UFC, like you don't do that. Like that's just like an unspoken rule. Like there's unwritten rules in baseball. Like that's like one of the unwritten rules. You know what I mean? Like you don't do that. Like the only reason they square you off like that is for pictures. Like obviously you guys are about to fight. You're literally 36 hours from the fight. Like what? Why are you doing that?
No, yeah, no, it sucks, and it cost them both a payday. Yeah, it was whack. It was bush league, is I think is a good way to put it. And yeah, you don't expect that for because Jeremy Stevens, he's a vet. And yeah, it does suck. That was supposed to be the co-main event. It gets pulled because Jakar Close, like I said, essentially got legitimately like documented whiplash from the push. Like I said, it was a very violent, impactful shove, and it wasn't that he got like punked. Like if somebody's not braced for it, like
Well,
anybody
yeah,
can do
because
that to anybody. You know what I mean?
that's
If
what I'm
you're not,
talking about. Like
yeah,
the expectation in the moment is that you're just gonna square off.
yeah.
Like Jeremy Stevens was wrong for that, bro. Honestly.
No, I agree. And once again, even though like, Twitter's the worst place ever, I saw a lot of people on Twitter kind of coming at Jakar Close for pulling out of the fight, and it's like, no, he's not the one in the wrong here. So I'm glad we see eye to eye on that. Yeah, didn't want to spend too much time on that, but also didn't want to forget about it and not mention it at all. But yeah, we can get to the what became the co-main, which is Andrei Arlovsky versus Chase Sherman. Which, if anybody's mad about the card, and you say, oh, what was the co-main on that card? Is it, oh, it's Andrei Arlovsky versus Chase Sherman? Like, oh, I can see why he might not like that card. I'm not.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so yeah, bro. Like Andrei Arlovsky record is 30-20. Like you know how salty that record is. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
granted, he has like what, like 30 fights in the UFC or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of those guys. I think like every time they're about to cut him, he'll get a win. So it's like
Right.
he's been gatekeeping and fighting young lions for a cool minute now. And I like hell since the inception of Beefy Boys breakdown, we've seen him win, we've seen him lose. I mean, he stays pretty active, especially for a guy his age and as long in the tooth as he is. He's just I see him just stacking checks, and I mean, a guy like him. He obviously loves what he does, right? Which is, it's hard to knock a guy for, that's he strikes me as one of those guys that he's just like a fighter. Like that's just what he does. Like he'd be fighting even if he wasn't a fighter. So it just
Yeah.
so yeah. But Arlovsky, he's one of those guys. To get excited for an Arlovsky fight, you got to reach pretty far back. I think they were saying in the broadcast he made his debut on like UFC 28 or some shit like that.
Bro, like so early and like
Yeah,
early on, he was awesome to watch. Like
yeah,
so
yeah.
much fun and like, oh man, for like 5 or 6 years now, it's just been a nightmare watching Arlovsky because he either gets like put to sleep by like an up and coming guy like Ngannou or something like that, and like they just like work him hard,
Yeah.
or he like beats a guy in like a close decision or a split or something like that, and like kind of derails like what I think would be progress for someone else that kind of needs it,
You're
and
right.
like and holds his spot in the UFC. And it's like Andre, can you just like get the fuck out, dude?
I feel it, but somebody's got to
But
get him
like,
out.
I mean,
Somebody's got to
yeah,
get him out. Like he keeps fucking putting the fire, extinguishing the fire on these hype trains, putting out the coals. Like I feel where you're coming from, but fuck, somebody's got to get him the fuck out of there. But I see you on that. But yeah, it was pretty much a coin flip. Arlovsky -115, Sherman -105. Kind of round one was a banger. They were throwing. It looked like a classic heavyweight fight.
yeah,
Uh, I had a 10-9 Sherman in the first. He had Arlovsky hurt. He had him hurt, but just Arlovsky's such a vet. Just stayed along, survived. And yeah, if you would have told me whenever Arlovsky was hurt bad that this fight would go 3, I would have called you crazy. But it did.
Sherman was piecing him up in the first like 90 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Which did we cover the odds? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
-115 and -105. Pretty much pick them.
Yep. Yep.
So I mean, it was a fight that on paper should be really good, and it was a pretty good fight. But like my problem with Arlovsky fights, man, is like he knows how to like outpoint and like pace and like fight defensively, safe, like for the most part now. Now in the start, like I was saying, he was getting beat up, but Sherman. So I did score it 10-9 to Sherman, but close round, and you could tell Arlovsky was kind of starting to like read the patterns.
Yeah, for sure, and just had a deeper toolbox. Yeah, round two, Arlovsky really started getting some nasty leg kicks, some low calf kicks,
Dude,
and
those
landing
leg kicks
heavy.
were nice.
Like literally compromising the legs of Chase Sherman for sure. It literally changed the tide of the fight. Yet another fight, which I know a lot of people hear leg kicks and kind of roll their eyes or, it's boring. But I don't know, man. Once again, I guess that's another deal. That's the only hill I'm dying on today is that leg kicks are like part of mixed martial arts and like mixed
No, we
martial
talk
arts.
about it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
That they're growing, especially in like the last like 2 or 3 years. They're a crazy growing weapon, but like they're effective as hell, and they're probably more than a jab. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like if
and
it's a good kick.
people acting like it's a new thing, even though it's not a new thing, but people acting like it's this new trend. Well, guess what? Arlovsky's much older than Sherman, so Sherman should be, more hip to the trend than the old bastard who's been fighting pretty much before anybody threw a low calf kick. So if you got beat to the trend by the old man, then hey, get with the time, Sherman. You know what I mean? I'm not, crying you a river for sure. So we both had a 19-19 going into 3 then.
Yeah. Which super good fight up to this point, man. We had, like I said, a bunch of matchups that were just so close as far as like the way the fight played out.
Yeah, and then once again another low shot, man. So many themes of last night, the theme split decision still wins out, but there was a lot of themes: new weight class debuts, nut shots, a lot of different competing storylines. But yeah, man. So round 3 comes out. Yeah, Arlovsky takes a bad low shot, but he thugs it out. He keeps it pushing, and yeah, round 3. I thought Arlovsky landed hard. He landed clean. I thought he did enough to take round 3.
So round 3, I thought was like it was a war in my opinion, the way they fought it, because like they were both slowed down enough where they were just kind of landing on each other because their defenses weren't really there as much, right?
Because they were heavyweights in round 3.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. And what I think Arlovsky did that won him the round was that he was making Sherman come to him and chase him and try to like essentially make Sherman be chasing him, if that makes sense. So that like Arlovsky was landing nice counter shots and Sherman was like missing his lead-in punches and being open for the shots. And like Sherman would, I mean, you saw it at the end. He was like telling Arlovsky, like, come on, like, come fight me. Like, but like, bro, it's like if you're gonna keep walking at him, he's not gonna come at you.
Yeah, and especially a guy like Arlovsky, like you can convince a young buck to let's just have a dick size contest in the middle of the octagon, but a vet like Arlovsky, he ain't taking the bait. So once again, I wasn't mad at it. Not the most exciting fight in the world, but like I said, man, I don't expect that from an Arlovsky fight. So maybe that's why it's like it was a low bar to clear. And once again, yeah, just gatekeeping. He's a hard gate to get past, man. He's a high security gate. He's like a prison gate.
He's razor wire.
Yeah, he's a razor wire gate. Yeah, he's a hard. Is he the best gatekeeper in the UFC? I'm trying to think of.
I used to think it was Derek Brunson, but it's maybe Paul Felder.
No, but both of those guys are ranked high. Like Arlovsky, I'm talking like true old head veteran. Like to even sniff the rankings, you got to get past him. Like the perimeter outside gate, not the gate to the top 5. Like gate to relevancy.
They've just been like cutting them all or sending them off. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of getting away from that model.
But that's what I'm saying. He's the last one. Like he's the last of a dying breed. Like they're not gonna. Are they gonna cut him on a win? I don't know if I'm down with that. That'd be whack. That'd be whack.
They can't.
Whack. So he keeps winning at the right times. Like he'll lose probably 1 and 3. But I don't know.
Now there is a difference between cutting and not re-signing too. Like if his contract expires and they're just like, look, we just don't want to bring you back. Like that's that's all good.
100%.
I will say he's
promotion. 100%. He's fighting in Bellator the next week.
Well, he's 42. PFL maybe. Shout out PFL. he's 42. He said he wants to fight 2 or 3 more years, and it's like, damn, bro, like you want to fight to 45? Like, all right.
But of course he does, or he wouldn't still be there, right? Like I feel like
Yeah, and he's like we keep saying at the end of all this all this shit talk is like, well, he won.
he
So
won. He won. No, I'm not. No shit talk on you. Don't group me into that. I'm fucking with it. I'm giving him his flowers, man. He's getting dubs, man. He's out here eating good, man. He's out here staying active, getting dubs, extinguishing hype trains. You know, it's a tough
Arlovsky's
job.
got you brainwashed. It's unbelievable.
He's like the farmer meme. It's like it ain't much, but it's honest work. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
honest work. Gets the job done. Feeds the family.
But fuck all this other shit. Let's get to this main event, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was so pumped for this fight, man, to be honest with you. Like,
Me too. Me too. I was so hyped. Like honestly, I was proud of myself. I was proud of myself, and I'm not saying this hindsight 2020. Like you can see the shit I was tweeting about. I mean, it's public audit. You know, it's everything's out there public. You can see, but like, I was way more excited for this fight than like the Paul Askren fight. That's why everybody want to talk Paul Askren. I know we talked Paul Askren a little bit, but like I said, it wasn't going to get my money. I was stoked for this fight. Like I was way more stoked. We've been talking about this fight for like 3 weeks. We've been,
well, and originally it was Whittaker versus Costa, which was going to be so sick.
Even better than this. Let's be honest. Like
But then all
would it have been better?
for sure.
Okay.
I think so, only because we would have seen a finish in that fight.
Oh, okay. I like what you're saying, but I'm saying the way Whittaker was fighting last night, and I guess I'm not going to be too spicy, and I'm going to exclude Stylebender from this quote, but excluding Stylebender, Whittaker, I almost said Forrest Whittaker, Robert Whittaker, open her up like Forrest Whitaker's. But anyway, if it any other middleweight on the planet besides Izzy, Whittaker beats the way he was flowing last night. He was on some like borderline like Holloway shit. Like obviously not quite Holloway level, but he was putting on a masterclass.
If you think about it, man, like Whittaker was the king of the middleweights until Izzy dethroned him. You know what I mean? And like he still probably is better than everyone else. Like he beat Yoel Romero twice. Rockhold, like there's plenty of guys that Whittaker's gone through, and it's just like really an impressive list. And I think he's really is that guy besides Israel Adesanya.
Quick hypothetical. Better, I guess, and it's so whack because you can't even truly say number one contender. But for the sake of this argument, while I take this depth, better number one contender, better number one contender, Colby Covington or Robert Whittaker. Go.
I'm gonna say, as far as like better number one contender, Robert Whittaker, because like I think against all the other guys behind him, he's better than all of them. I don't know if that's true for Colby. Like I think he could lose to other people in the middleweight division as well.
You mean the welterweight?
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry. That's what I mean. Yes, I'm sorry.
But
now on the flip side of it,
that's interesting though, because I honestly thought you were gonna say Covington.
Well, I was gonna say as well on the flip side though, who has a better chance to dethrone the champion as far as in that aspect? I think it's actually Covington, right? Because I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
The gap is smaller.
Yes.
The gap is smaller, but Whittaker is better. But Stylebender is that much better.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I'm so glad I asked you that question. That's something I said before we get into the fight, because spoiler alert, round by round is not too entertaining.
Yeah.
But that's super. Yeah, so I love the way you put that, because honestly, you swayed me. I was leaning Covington because of what you said with the small gap. But like in perspective, if it's all on the same like chart,
right,
Stylebender's just like off the chart.
Yeah, that's kind of how I had to look at it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's like Stylebender might be like one of the greatest, if not the greatest middleweight of all time. So it's like for Whittaker, well, if he's not that close, shit, nobody is. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. Which is why Stylebender tried 205, and it didn't work out. But I think, you know what? There's not very many times I can say I'm proud of the MMA like fan community. We handled the Izzy loss well. And I say we because like myself included, like I didn't see a lot of super spicy like takes that like people didn't apply the 205 loss to like 185 hot takes of like, oh, he's done.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like,
Which
yeah.
sometimes we like, and I say we because once again, myself included, the MMA community does dumb shit like that. And I'm gonna give us all kind of a collective pat on the back that we didn't do it in this instance.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like whenever Holloway went out and got beat up by Poirier at 155, and we were all like, "Is Holloway all right?" Like, man, like,
But the
is he starting to
featherweight still
take
don't
it?
want it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yep, they're very good. I'm so glad you used that comparison. But we'll introduce the fight. And like I said, I don't even know if it's worth going round by round. We'll talk some narrative. We'll talk the fighters. And we'll talk what happened. Robert Whittaker, #1 middleweight contender, even though for some strange reason Marvin Vettori's being shoved down all of our throats like a fucking porn star.
He was
like,
in attendance last night.
I was like, why? Why is he there?
He asked to be there.
Whittaker.
Well, he asked to be there, and Gastelum's his teammate.
Yeah, I know. And also he wanted to.
And he wants to be. He wants to put the pressure on Whittaker.
I thought it blew up in his face, and we'll get to that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it blew up in his face. I thought he looked stupid.
He was not looking happy at the end of the night when they had the camera on him. He was like sitting there just like.
He was asking himself why he was there.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, exactly. He was like, fuck, I should have stayed at my house. Like, fuck.
Like, what does this have to do with me? Like, that's my whole point from the start. But we got Robert Whittaker, the #1 contender. Like I said, despite what ESPN may be trying to tell you, he is indeed the #1 contender. Yeah. And then Kelvin Gastelum, who, like I said, semi-last-minute replacement, like kind of late replacement over Paulo Costa. They had a couple of weeks. It wasn't like super late replacement, Kevin Holland style, but it was it wasn't the original planned intended fight. Paulo Costa, man, I'm gonna call like wolf on Paulo Costa, man. He be having every excuse in the book, man.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, he's the worst.
Him and Tracy Cortez passing the excuse book back and forth to each other. We're doing alley-oops with the excuse book.
Dude,
man.
Like, is this the podcast where we finally just go fully bad on Paulo Costa and we just treat him like the villain moron he is?
Bro, I've been out on Costa since the whole unbuttoned snap by snap thing. Like that, I was out. Like I washed my hands of it that very moment. Yeah, no, I'm super out on Costa. He's so cringy.
Yeah, he is. Him and Henry Cejudo.
I'm about to say
they train together.
He's challenging Cringe Cejudo, triple cringe.
They train at the same place.
Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure. I mean,
no. It's Gastelum. It's Gastelum.
I follow Costa. Costa's a Brazil guy. He stays in Brazil. I follow him on social media. He makes all his posts in Portuguese, all that. But yeah. But enough about that fucking balloon animal, as
Izzy calls him.
As Izzy calls him. But we got Kelvin Gastelum plus 210, #8 ranked, and it's as the rankings McGee. It is rare that we even get a 1 versus 8. Like, just from the nature of those two rankings, you rarely get a 1-8. And we wouldn't have gotten a 1-8 if it wasn't a last-minute replacement. Now, these two guys did a whole season of Ultimate Fighter together. They were supposed to fight each other 2 years ago. It fell out literally day of the weigh-ins, I think, or day of the fight. It was very last-minute fallout. I think Robert Whittaker.
Sorry. Here we go. Oh, sorry. I thought I had swiped out of the app for some reason. I was in the chat. My bad.
No, you're good, bro. But I was saying that Robert Whittaker, they were doing the Ultimate Fighter. Robert Whittaker had to pull out like very last minute. The last time it was 2 years ago. So these two guys have a little bit of history. Gastelum actually born in San Jose, so shout out San Jose. That's where I'm coming, broadcasting live from right now. And But yeah, but man, as far as the fight goes, it was a clinic by Whittaker. Like I said, I don't even know if we want to go round by round. It was, I scored it the same as the judges. All three judges scored it 50-45.
Me too.
That's what I scored it.
And I feel like every round was essentially the same.
I gotta say, round 3, I made the point of writing down that it was the closest round. Now, what does the closest round mean when you lose every round? Like, I guess it's just for what it's worth. Like, I thought round 3 was the most competitive round. I thought that, like, if every round looked like round 3 looked, we would be talking about this fight differently, but it didn't. And the prime example of it didn't is that the best round he still lost, and it wasn't really close.
Funny you say that, because I literally wrote round 3 was probably Gastelum's best round, but I still scored it to Whittaker.
That's my notes are like verbatim, bro. Seriously. Yeah, no, now, something else I want to talk about, because I said, like, I don't want to talk round by round. It was like, it was a clinic. It was a master class. It was a, virtuoso.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, yeah,
listen,
Whittaker looked great. Now
best
Whittaker
performance I've seen since the Holloway performance.
Whittaker did take a little bit of damage, but I mean, over 25 minutes against Kelvin Gastelum, it's going to happen. Now, Kelvin Gastelum took a ton of damage. He was beat up.
He was beat up. Yeah, it wasn't one of these point fighting things. And we're talking middleweights here, and we're talking Robert Whittaker here. So it was a violent fight. Yeah, both men were bleeding. I'll say, yeah, Whittaker was bleeding, like, kind of like spitting out blood, like just had a bloody mouth. He wasn't like cut up or anything. Like Gastelum, I think it was Gastelum's right eye was straight like hamburger. It looked like Quasimodo. His right eye was fucked up. It looked like fucking movie makeup. He was fucked up. His right. I think it was his right eye. But yeah, no. What I wanted to talk about, what jumped off the screen to me last night, and I guess I can't help but bring Kevin Holland into this podcast. Forgive me, but Whittaker's simple just pushing Gastelum was so effective and so simple. He would just push him because going into this, I thought Gastelum had a chance to out wrestle him. Like I said, whenever I saw how good Malkoun wrestled, it kind of made me second guess that. And I'm not alone in that, and people aren't going to be quick to step up to the plate and admit that after the fact. But leading up to this fight, many people were saying Kelvin Gastelum had a path to victory through the wrestling game. But Robert Whittaker's takedown defense was superb. But it wasn't like sprawling takedown defense. It was literally like just like as simple as somebody even it was just like a pass block.
When you watch Whittaker fight, right? Like, dudes really don't get takedowns on him for the simple reason of, like, they say he's like a supreme level athlete, like outside the gym, like 40s, like verticals, like that kind of athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like combine style. Like he could yeah, exactly. And he looks the fuck like it. Like,
he looks the part.
He is shredded at 185.
Yeah.
But I think what we were seeing last night was just like him being like the physically just like more dominant person in those grappling clinches.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you. I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say it is an effective defense to, like, if you think about it, bro, just like push someone away. Like, I mean, if they don't get low enough and like have enough force entering.
Now, you're the wrestling guy. Was Gastelum taking lazy / bad / ill-advised shots is why he was able to get away with this simple push defense? Or why was that? You tell me. You're the wrestling guy. Why? Because that jumped off the screen to me. Like, I was like, why didn't Kevin Holland just do that? I know it's an oversimplification, but but seriously, why was Robert Whittaker able to be so effective with just a simple push? Was it more to do with Gastelum just being tired and beat up and taking bad shots, or what was that? Because it seemed ridiculously effective.
Well, Gastelum's not the biggest guy at 185, right?
No, yeah, he's like 5'9".
And yeah, exactly. And
shorter
then
than me.
Right, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And like to think that he fights at 185. But I think for Whittaker, man, it just comes down to the fact that, like, I just think he's a little bit more athletic in the position. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's able to, like if Kelvin was to shoot, like, actually go to, like, the knees or lower, you know what I'm saying? Whittaker's hips are so good that I think he'd be going for air. So I think Gastelum was trying to get, like, these body locks and stuff. Well, with body locks or, like, upper body grappling, because he would try to, he was trying all kinds of entries last night, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, the pushes would always come once they got, back up, like, almost chest to chest, kind of, like, locked up, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what's happening there is that Gastelum just can't get his hands locked behind him. And so, I mean, what's he grabbing on? Just, like, sweaty Whittaker's body, who's also going backwards when he pushes.
So like I said, forgive me, it's kind of irrelevant, but bring it, I guess, full circle, not really, just inserting him into the podcast for no reason. What, like, do you think that would be like an effective strategy for a guy like Kevin Holland? Because Kevin Holland's very athletic as well. He's usually 9 times out of 10, he's the more athletic guy versus the guy he's fighting. Now, it's obviously usually a smaller guy. Whittaker was the bigger guy. So maybe is that the difference why it may not work as good for a guy like Holland, or is it just like a irrelevant hypothetical?
I think it has to do a lot too with like the way they're built. You know what I mean? Like Whittaker's built like a V, and he's like really stacked. Yeah, I mean, he's
he
like
looks like
prime
a
physique.
fucking, like, if you go to the sporting goods store, the goddamn like Under Armour mannequin, like he's great genetics. He's an athlete for sure. But yeah, so Dana, we alluded to it earlier. Dana gave this fight of the night. I don't think this is the spirit of the fight of the night. I think Whittaker 100% deserved the performance of the night. Was this like a low
I think he was
pat on the ass for Gastelum for stepping up and saving the card?
Yes, 100%.
Which it's hard to be mad at. Like, I'm cool with that. Now, like I said, if you're talking, like I said, Cortez probably fucked herself out of fight of the night with the missing weight. And then, yeah, I mean, Pena Munoz, it would have been pretty hard to give that fight of the night. But if you would have, I don't think it would have been, I think it would have been totally fine given Robert Whittaker performance of the night and then given maybe Pena or Mearschart got one. Yeah, you know what? I'm not super mad because Hubbard didn't look great. Yeah, and Pena, I don't know if that was necessarily a split decision. Hard to give a performance of the night to a split decision. You know what? I retract my statement. I'm cool with the Gastelum. I'm cool with Gastelum getting a little ass pat.
The UFC logo on his chest. The shill is alive.
Yeah, man. But like I said, I was a little disappointed in Gastelum. I guess it can be explained as simply by recency bias. They're like we had watched between the Holland Brunson, Holland Vittori. I had my brain had been like programmed to be like, oh, just like wrestlers just wrestle good and like that's how fights happen. And I just like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just recency bias of like I really gave and like I said, it's probably all it was. Like Gastelum, I mean, he was an 8th ranked fighter ranked in fighting a first-ranked fighter, and Robert Whittaker is, everybody knows he's a killer. But, like, he was punching up a little bit. Maybe I just love underdogs. I thought, like I said, before the fight started, I looked at my wife, Nina, and I was like, oh, no, Vegas doesn't think this is going to be close, but I think this is going to be a pretty good fight, baby. I was just like, not at all.
Nope.
But, yeah, so I don't know. You got any kind of final parting takes on the Whittaker Gastelum on? And I don't know, did you think Gastelum was going to put up a better fight? Are you going to put your name on that? Or?
Oh no! This is
about
it.
You saw this coming? You saw
this fight is exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Wow.
Exactly, dude. Okay. I'm telling you, man. Like when I say Whittaker is better than all the other middleweights, like I truly believe that. Like just not Israel Adesanya.
No, I thought Whittaker was going to win the fight. It's like let's not get it.
No. But I'm saying like I really think like. I thought he was going to get a finish.
Okay.
To be honest.
I just have seen wrestling dominate so much, and I was just like I just.
Whittaker has great wrestling, though.
Different. Yeah, built different.
He got takedowns on Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero's a silver medalist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Whittaker's an animal.
No, he's so good.
I can't wait for his rematch with Izzy. That's what I think the other point that we need to say, too, is fuck Vittori. He doesn't get that match.
Yes,
Whittaker's match.
Yeah, and I also wanted to. So in the post fight, they interviewed Vittori, and like Vittori like made a case for himself, but it was the weakest, shakiest case ever. Like Vittori, kind of without really doing it, conceded like, yeah, it's Whittaker. Like Vittori's only argument. They're like, make your case, Marvin, and he was like, well, I'll be ready in June. Like that's literally all he said was like. Like Whittaker, it's harder for him to do the fast turnaround because of the New Zealand or the Australia and all that shit. And Whittaker won't be ready in June, and he will. That was his only argument. He didn't even attempt to make like a merit-based argument.
It's so simple for the UFC.
I kind of respect that. Like Marvin he wasn't up there like I'm better than Whittaker. He knew not to say that. I honestly kind of respect it. I kind of respect it. He kept it a bug. The only reason he said is that he'll be ready faster. Like, that's all he said, which I'm not mad at.
I think it's so obvious to the UFC, though, and Whittaker said it in his post-fight interview, which is that you book it for I think September is when he said,
Yeah,
when Australia opens up again.
Yeah,
And
open her
sell
up.
and yeah, open her up, baby. And you just sell a stadium out, bro. Like they already did it once. Do it again, and
That'd
like
be
the
sick.
pay-per-views on that are going to be so much more than that or than Izzy and Vittori. And in the sense of business, which the UFC ultimately is, they want money. So the fight to make is Whittaker Izzy, both skill and bank.
Are you more excited for Thug Rose,
Zhang Weili.
Zhang Wei Li than you are for Usman Masvidal? Because that's how I feel. And then
Wow.
I know better than to get excited for a Shevchenko fight. Now, if Andrade makes me eat my words, I'm fine with that. But I feel the same way about a Shevchenko fight that I do about a Nunez fight. Like
I do too, bro.
I
I
ain't sweating
swear.
that at all.
Unless those two girls fight each other, I'm not like
if
really
I had
too
a
worried.
fat bankroll, I'd bet the minus 400. If I had a
Yeah.
fat bankroll, I'd bet the minus 400. And I
You wouldn't be
rarely
wrong
say
to
that.
do it. You wouldn't be
I
wrong to do
rarely
it.
say that. I rarely say that.
Now, as far as the Zhang Weili or the Rose fight, I think I'm more excited for Masvidal Usman. I think on a full camp that Masvidal is going to put up a lot better fight.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, I'm gonna buy it because that's just what I do.
I think honest prediction right here before it all goes down, I think Usman ends up winning the fight like 48-47, and I think he probably wins rounds 4 and 5, and I think that Masvidal probably wins like rounds 1 and 3 or 1 and 2.
Okay. I think it's gonna be 4-1. I think
Okay.
Usman will win 4-1. Yeah, but like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little down on Masvidal. Maybe Masvidal shuts me up. I think Kamaru's too tough to like catch and drop. Like I think
Gilbert
Masvidal.
Burns caught him clean and couldn't finish him.
That's
And then,
what I'm saying, bro.
and Usman recovered fast from that too.
Like I don't think Masvidal is going to like. Essentially, I don't like it's kind of like whenever I bet Lewis to win by knockout. Like if you're betting Masvidal, you're betting by knockout. I mean,
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you're betting Masvidal by decision or by submission. If you're betting Masvidal, you're betting by knockout.
KO, TKO, yeah.
And I don't think Masvidal's knocking him out. So like I feel pretty goddamn good about Usman, but like I said, you're not going to get a good number on Usman, I don't think.
No.
I'll say you maybe get a better number than you deserve just because of Masvidal's popularity.
For sure. I think that's for sure true. And maybe closer to the fight, the closer it gets, the more casual money that comes in on Masvidal. Yeah. So it might be something to look for. It might be something to watch out for.
But yeah, I mean, so we got 3 belts next weekend. Like I said, I don't know. I'm tempering my expectations. It's just one of the things. I've been burnt once. Like I'm afraid to get my heart broken. I'm getting back out there. I don't want to get my heart broken. But no, in all seriousness, I said 3 belts. But am I tripping, or are you not as excited as you think you should be for 3 belts?
I'm not near as excited as I should be for 3 belts. It's wild.
Okay,
it's wild.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't just being a cynical dickhead because But I am super stoked for that strawweight strap, though. That's like I said. That's the fight I'm most stoked for.
That should be a great fight.
I'm not even trying to be like spicy. Like I've been down on this Usman Masvidal fight for weeks now. Like I said, Shevchenko fight I feel like is just chalk. And
I don't think any belts are moving. I think they're all staying where they are.
Me too. I wonder if we can get a halfway decent number on that parlay.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Just like, I mean, it's not going to be a great number, but a pretty bankable. I feel like that's a smart bet.
Anytime you play 3, you're talking about already getting 10-1 odds.
Yeah. Hey,
so
let's do it, bro. Look that up, man. Hey, man, this has been another great episode, man. A lot of fun, a lot of more good fights to look forward to, man. Episode 43, Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're so close to 100 subs on YouTube. We're at like 95 or 96. Go smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Beefy Boys Breakdown. Like, please do your boys a favor. We're so close. 100 subscriber. We doing something to hook you up. But
for sure.
But yeah, we're so close to if you're the 100 subscriber on Beefy Boys, DM us a screenshot. We'll figure out some way to do right by you. But yeah. Subscribe on YouTube. Anywhere you get your audio podcast, man. Another fun one. And we got pay-per-view. So we got 3 title fights coming next week. So I don't know. Have you looked at the prelims for next week? Look a little weak, but I guess we can split the. You're not going to be too stoked. Maybe I'm wrong. Text me if you look at them and you're stoked. All right, but
yeah.
All right, man. Love you, brother. Another good episode, man. Everybody go subscribe. Thanks for everybody that took the time to watch. Thanks so much, everybody.
Much love, bro.